Welcome to the Energized Thyroid Podcast. I'm Toki and I am so glad you're here. If you're new to my world, I'm a functional medicine practitioner and thyroid health specialist, and I help women with underactive thyroid and Hashimoto's finally wake up with enough energy to last the day, lose weight naturally, and feel like themselves again without having to resort to crash diets, crazy workouts, or extreme protocols. And today I'm going to be diving into a topic that's getting a lot of attention recently with good reason. Is iodine safe if you've got an underactive thyroid or Hashimoto's? You've probably seen it or read it. One blog says you need iodine to heal your thyroid, and another one's iodine's toxic and will make your Hashimoto's worse. And really can be quite confusing, and it's risky if you get this wrong. So in this episode, we're going to unpack what the actual research shows and how iodine really impacts your thyroid and your gut, and what a safe approach looks like if you're trying to support your energy and get your Hashimoto's into remission. I'll also share some of the biggest mistakes I see and what I coach my private clients to do instead. So if you've ever wondered whether or not to add iodines, whether it's seaweed, or any thyroid support supplements that in your cupboard, if they could actually be doing any harm, then this episode is for you. So let's start with the basics. Yes, iodine is essential because your body uses it to make thyroid hormones, the most common ones like T4 and T3, as well as the lesser known ones like T1 and T2. And if you don't get enough, the thyroid can't do its job. That's why iodine deficiency causes things like goiter, low thyroid levels, and then you get all the symptoms. But, this is a big but. It sounds like I'm talking about another but here, but true iodine deficiency is rare in countries like the UK, Australia, and the US because of iodized salt, dairy, seafood, and eggs being in the diet. So most of the women I work with, they're not actually deficient. They're getting too much, in fact, and that's where we start to see problems. In Hashimoto's, your thyroid is already inflamed and more sensitive to oxidative stress. And excess iodine can make that worse by triggering more inflammation, damaging your thyroid cells, and raising your antibody levels. And there's also stuff about the gut, and I love this bit because it explains so much. New research shows that high iodine intake actually disrupts your gut microbiome. Yes. It reduces the good calming bacteria like those that make butyrate, and also increases your inflammatory immune cells like Th17. So that creates this cycle of too much iodine leading to an imbalanced gut bugs, and then your immune system not working well, and then this will result in thyroid or Hashimoto's flare. And which is why exactly some women say, I started taking iodine and initially I felt okay, but now I feel worse. My brain fog's back, my fatigue's worse, and I've gained weight again. And this is the exact mechanism behind those who feel worse on iodine. Now, most women with underactive thyroid symptoms or Hashimoto's already have imbalanced gut, which then, affects the amount of active thyroid hormones they make through conversion. And then adding iodine to the mix, when they're not deficient, can actually make them feel worse, not better. So if you've been wondering whether, where you get iodine from, you get them from things like seaweed. Even one nori sheet provides about 200 to 300 micrograms of iodine. Kelp or thyroid support supplements as well will have them. Multivitamins with iodine, so check to see if they got iodine or not. Iodized salt, seafood, dairy, and eggs, and fortified foods like I mentioned earlier. And if you're using seaweed daily and or taking a thyroid supplement from some big name brands, chances are you're probably getting too much. The safe upper limit for adults when it comes to iodine is about 1,100 micrograms per day, but studies show that even 500 micrograms per day may be too high for some women with Hashimoto's, and the recommended daily intake for adults is around 150 micrograms. Do note, though, that the upper safe limit does vary from person to person, but those with thyroid conditions tend to be more susceptible to iodine intake than other people. Now, here's what I teach most of my clients. Test. Don't guess. First, review your diet for sources and amounts of iodine you're taking in, and then test for iodine levels as needed. And I love urine iodine test for this. Focus on food first for iodine sources, so seafood again, your eggs, moderate dairy. Then avoid daily seaweed and iodine drops unless it's been clinically indicated because you're low. Make sure to check all your supplement labels and then tot up how much iodine in them to see how much you're actually taking. And remember to support your gut health. And that's where your immune system does a lot of its work. And that's where a lot of the thyroid hormone, the T4, the storage thyroid hormone, gets converted to the T3, which is the active one we need. Make sure to boost selenium and iron levels as well, because these protect your thyroid from oxidative stress, and they support hormone conversion as well. And I like selenium levels to be optimal before getting iodine in, because most issues with iodine supplementation occurs when you're deficient in selenium. And make sure, do be careful with iodine, especially if you have TPO or TG antibodies, and if you have hyperthyroid. We're not talking about that here, but do be careful with that as well. If you have thyroid nodules or a history of flares, if you're in early pregnancy, because iodine needs can shift rapidly and that must be monitored, so be careful. Bottom line though, if you are deficient, adding iodine can be very, very beneficial. If you're not deficient though, then adding iodine may cause harm. So it really depends on the individual and your personal requirements. So to wrap up, more iodine will not fix your thyroid symptoms if you're not deficient. Even if you're deficient, it may help, but if there are other things contributing to your thyroid symptoms, then it may or may not help. If you have unmanaged thyroid autoimmunity as well, just putting more iodine in may not help. It may not make any difference. In fact, it may actually make things worse. So what you really need is a common sense approach to supplementing with iodine. If you're low, then yes, by all means, supplement and see how you feel, and you may start to feel better. However, if you have adequate amount of iodine already on testing or from your diet and supplements when you top them up, but still have symptoms, then remember adding iodine to the mix isn't really a good idea. If this episode has helped you understand the whole iodine topic and debate better, I'd love if you'd hit follow or subscribe wherever you're tuning in from. And if you'd love a simple step-by-step plan to start waking up feeling refreshed and have more energy to last the day without bottomless cups of coffee, sugary snacks, or endless supplements, grab my free guide, Wake Up Energized. You'll find the link waiting for you in the show notes. Thanks for listening, and I will see you next time on the Energized Thyroid Podcast.